And I'm back, guys! Let me just say a massive thank you to Tom for covering my ass while we work on these longer and slightly more research-intensive videos. He's honestly the MVP of this channel, and I don't know what I'd do without him. So stop taking shots at his narration! He does a grand job, and surely it must be nice to have a break from my overly obnoxious ramblings once in a while. Right? I've said it, Tom. Can you lower the crossbow now? One of the main elements that sets apart epic, jaw-dropping fantasy from crappy, lame historical fiction is the presence of magic. For some fictional verses, it is a crude, blunt entity that serves as the primary element to the universe's world-building, and let's be honest, a lazy get-out-of-jail-free card when the writer has scribbled themselves into a hole or just can't be arsed.
A wizard did it.
I see, alright, yes.
For other works, it is this perfectly integrated supernatural force with depth and nuance that the story utilizes but never relies on to prop up the narrative. No, Tom, I'm not personally biased. The magic of Middle-earth is the most beautifully crafted and integrated system of magic fiction has ever seen, and that's just fact. Anyone who disagrees is just... well, they're wrong. I can't help that. But for the world of ice and fire, magic serves as this undeniable yet great enigma that even the inhabitants and even some of its users in-world don't truly understand. It also serves as the fantasy boilerplate that protects George from the descendants of the Yorks and the Lancasters from coming after him for plagiarism of their ancestors. Oh, we're slipping the jabs in early today, Tom. Today's video was supposed to be part one of a new concept we wanted to try, where we do a deep dive into an aspect of a fictional world's lore and follow it on with a signature Fandome listicle to create a hybrid, or loresticle if you will. In this case, as you've probably inferred from the intro, a deep dive into the magic of the world of ice and fire, followed up with a ranked list of the known magic users in the main series. Unfortunately though, some of the assets we've commissioned for the deep dive into the lore half aren't quite ready yet, and we're fond of maintaining our weekly uploads, so it'll just be the usual ranked list today. And if this video gets enough support, we'll drop the lore deep dive when the assets are ready. In future though, it'll be the other way round. Lore, then list, assuming there's enough support for the concept. Don't forget to like and subscribe or I will start sending out the shadow babies, and Discord is here. There's so much going on in there now, and it's the best place for your video suggestions to get noticed. Books or show? You know our usual standard setup, mainly the books, but we might use clips from the show if they help reinforce something from the books. And we're only looking at the mainline series. There's like 20 entries alone with just that. God, we are spoiling you today. That everything, Tom? Well, let's crack on. Starting off with the honorable mentions, and that is the Giants, Beyond the Wall, 1-1 and Mag. Giants are considered magical creatures and associated with magic, but we don't see them attempt anything magical, so while I think they should be acknowledged, I'm not sure how you'd place them. Another nod goes to Robert Strong, or as we like to call him, Franking Greg. I don't really think you can say this guy is magic, more that he's a result of magic, so I don't think he belongs in the rankings, but should be acknowledged since he is part of the arcane in the series. Now on to the actual rankings. Let's begin at the bottom end of the scale with potential shysters and frauds. The key word in that description is potential. While these guys haven't been disproven and exposed as fake magic users, there's enough there to infer it. Yet, just enough of a case that they could also be totally legit. Only time will tell, so don't come at us like we're wrongfully debunking these guys. It's mere speculation and a might but might not be sort of situation. Sort of like believing in God, where if they do exist, please forgive me, and if they don't, well, it doesn't matter anyway. At number 21, it's Haleen the Pyromancer and basically all his chums in the Alchemist's Guild of King's Landing. Wildfire is beyond any doubt the Westeros brand version of Greek fire, a real historical substance that basically did the same thing as wildfire. Stupidly hot, burned for a long time, burned on water, next to impossible to put out, etc, etc. Now, while we don't have the exact recipe for Greek fire, we know through science alone that such a substance can be created without the need of magic. There is of course the counter-argument that the pyromancers claim that wildfire has been losing its potency over time since the death of the dragons, but again, maybe that's the case, or maybe the guild has just been getting steadily more shit at quality control over time. You know, sort of like Amazon or any other big corporation that starts off well before the enshittification begins. Please don't think that because they're at the bottom, I'm dunking on these guys. Wildfire is an awesome fantasy substance, and even if it's not magic, it's clearly a difficult thing to make and requires high skill and intellect. But this is a list of magic users, and these guys are firmly in the maybe they are, or maybe they just understand the finer points of business and marketing pig shit. Oops, I mean wondrous substance, Haleen. For the love of the seven, don't burn me, please. We get enough of that in the comments. At number 20, it's Euron Greyjoy, the non-bastardized version. The real one. Or is he? Euron has surrounded himself with magic users in the books and believes he is capable of performing a colossal feat of blood magic using ritual sacrifice. That will definitely put him on the map if he pulls it off. Thing is, though, he's been glugging the Planetos equivalent of LSD like it's orange juice and could just be totally tripping balls, and had his head filled with false promises which have been reinforced by the hallucinogens. He's due a fraud check in the next book, so we'll have to wait and see. For now, though, he's a skilled manipulator and a highly dangerous player on the board, but when it comes to genuine magic, I personally think he might be just talk. Has anyone actually managed to assess the quality of his Valyrian steel armor to check if it's legit? Yes? No? Tom, why won't his crew talk to me, the ignorant bastards? At number 19, it's Aeron Greyjoy, also known as Damphair. This guy has never lost a soul who has partaken in the water rituals of the drowned god, and he is the only one to have a 100% success rate with the Kiss of Life. Every other priest has lost at least one person to drowning. He has also seemingly had some prophetic visions, but like his brother, only under the influence of the aforementioned Westerosi version of acid. The Kiss of Life, though, is very likely to be just CPR, and unlike another candidate, none of his visions have yet to come to pass, so he could, like Euron, possibly just be tripping balls. So Damphair could be the genuine article, or he may just be a very capable medical professional. Time will tell. And lastly in this category of maybe they are or maybe they aren't, at number 18, it's the Warlocks of Karth and the Undying. The problem you have with confirming the magic of the Warlocks and the Undying is the POV of the one who witnessed them. Dany, like Euron and Damphair, was sourced up with Shade of the Evening when she saw the Undying Ones. So her just hallucinating what she initially saw of the Undying Ones is highly probable, and the Undying Ones could have just been old as fuck. Or maybe that was also a hallucination and they were young children. Ooh, we just don't know.
Hashtag Danny Burns Children, brought to you by the Stannis Baratheon Political Party. A vote for Stannis is a vote for justice.
The magical properties of Shade of the Evening are also, in my opinion, thrown into question. The one person we have a POV of consuming it and actually having accurate visions of events that do in fact come to pass is beyond any doubt a person capable of their own magic. Which leads me to the question, is Shade of the Evening magic, or is it just a hallucinogenic drug with effects that an already magical person can channel their abilities through? This is probably the most controversial maybe pick. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on the Warlocks. Are they frauds or are they the real deal? On to the next branch, and it's the Instinctual Magic users. We're firmly away from potential frauds now and into the realms of definitely magical. However, these next couple of choices don't have command of their magic and have only accessed it on instinct. While these picks may be overall more powerful than higher picks, they're placed here due to their lack of on-command control of the arcane. The logic being it's no good having a tool if you don't really understand how to use it properly. At number 17, it's all the Stark children apart from Bran, but also including that bastard Jon Snow. This is skipped over in the show, but in the books it's confirmed that all the Stark children are wargs, including Jon. They can enter the minds of dogs and wolves and control them, but none do so actively, and rather through dreams and in-the-moment instinct, like Arya deciding she's had enough of being blind, and also if you believe that heartbreaking theory about Robb dying twice, and Jon's potential temp accommodation while he has his current home renovated to be free of the red windows the city authority insisted he have installed. That's what you get, Jon, for not getting the appropriate planning permission.
Is that a euphemism?
Sorry?
You know, like having the painters in. Sorry, I don't really get it.
At number 16, it's Daenerys Targaryen, first of her name, breaker of chains, and all the other titles. Dany is of Valyrian descent, and as such is a naturally powerful magic user. Her feat of birthing dragons from petrified eggs is one of the most powerful displays of the arcane in the entire series. She's also one of the seers to have some of their visions confirmed as accurate. However, her magic use thus far has been gut feeling over conscious action, which is why she's down here. In terms of raw magical power though, she's easily one of the most powerful around during the main series. Ooh, quickly, let's catch that guy while we're here, Tom, before they write their comment. Dany is not magically immune to fire in all mediums. That was a show-only trait, and I don't think George was all too happy about it, with intentions it be a one-time thing to birth the dragons. Watch your step, that guys. My abilities in Greensight are growing ever stronger. We're now on to the low-level magic users. These guys either have a good knowledge of their magic, or they can use the arcane on command, but either need something else to back it up, or what they do isn't all that powerful on the magical spectrum. At number 15, it's Topo Mott. The guy can rework Valyrian steel, and he's one of the few smiths in the world who can do it. Forging and reshaping Valyrian steel requires spells, and it's suspected blood sacrifice in the books. So this guy obviously knows a bit of magic from this feat alone. But as far as we know, that's all he's got, so... At number 14, it's Qyburn. Qyburn's one confirmed feat of magic is very impressive. He took the most insurmountable physical threat of the series and made him even more insurmountable, the fucking dickhead. But why he's down here in the low-level category is due to him likely needing science to back up his necromancy magic, and vice versa. Frank and Greg isn't all magic, but isn't all science either. Qyburn likely lent on both, and couldn't achieve his feat with just one of those aptitudes. That's it, really. At number 13, it's Maggie the Frog. Maggie is a reliable seer, and her prophecy was pretty spot on in the show and seems to be unfolding accurately in the books. She does, however, require blood to utilize her magic though, and blood magic seems to be the most easily accessed form of magic in the series. We haven't seen her accomplish anything purely off her own back, which is what gets her here. Likewise, at number 12, it's Miri Maz-Dur, the witch everyone thinks is a villain, yet actually had a great fucking point. Dany is an evil bitch.
This message brought to you by the Stannis Baratheon Party. A vote for Stannis is a vote for peace.
Now, this one is quite subjective, because it depends on how much command you think she actually has over her blood magic. Was what she did to Drogo all she was actually capable of, knew it, and just neglected to tell Dany the full story in the name of vengeance, or did she have such a command over the ritual she could fine-tune the results to make her cruel, ironic point? Either way, she knew what she was doing and wielded some scary, powerful blood magic, with perhaps the most coveted ability to influence life and death, killing Dany's child while still in the womb, and holding Drogo within the mortal plane despite fatal septicemia. She's clearly capable of some messed up shit. Just a shame she couldn't cast Fire Shield like Dany, eh, Tom? And the last of the low-level magic users at number 11 is Cold Hands. This, guy is a mystery in the books. In the show, he's confirmed to be Benjen Stark and seems to have a low-level command of fire magic. In the books, he's far cooler and more magically powerful, able to commune with a flock of ravens as well as command them to perform reconnaissance or to become a black cloud of shredding death. The reason he's in the low-level category is because it's not yet been established if it's actually him using the magic or if it's merely someone else we've yet to mention working through his reanimated remains. Time will of course tell, assuming we actually get the fucking books, George! On to the next category, and it's the mid-tier magic users. These guys either have highly powerful sorcery, a reliable command or understanding of their arcane gifts, or a skill set that encompasses more than one ability. At number 10, it's Jojen Reed. Jojen isn't a green seer, but he does possess very powerful green sight. His powers of divination are always pretty much spot on, and he has developed a strong affinity for interpreting his green dreams correctly, with his sight powerful enough for him to see all the way up to his death. which when you compare with Mel's fuckery with reading vague signs, is quite the gift. We'll also use Jojen's spot to quickly reference the ghost of Highheart, an old woman from the Riverlands who basically has the same exact ability as Jojen, and as such can share his spot. At number 9, it's no one, with the face of Jaqen H'ghar. The faceless men can magically change their appearance seemingly on command and understand the sorcery involved with glamours, as well as appearing to know the finer points of alchemy with their blindness-inducing concoctions. I did tussle with whether or not these guys should be a little lower, as the ability to change one's face isn't really the most magically powerful feat we've seen, and their alchemy could just be well thought out science. However, their seemingly complete command of the ability and the skill with which they seem to be able to wield it, especially as seen in the books, makes me feel a man deserves to be up here. And I'm sure everyone will agree with that. At number 8, it's Thoros of Myr. Thoros has perhaps the most impressive magical feat accomplished by a human after Dany's birthing of dragons. Actual, bona fide resurrection of the dead through his fire-breathing kiss. Thoros has managed to resurrect Beric Dondarrion not once, but 6 times. And while the show pigeonholes this feat as being exclusive to just Beric and no one else, the books imply Thoros is likely capable of doing this to anyone after he'd figured out what he was doing, as was evidenced with the request to bring back Cat. Thoros has also successfully employed divination, having seen accurate visions within the fire. The reason he's not higher is due to his lack of true understanding. While he knows what to do with his resurrection spell, he's not totally sure how he's doing it, leading him to attribute it to a divine being over his own magic. Thoros also brings balance. We've got one lovable drunk handing out the touch of death in the series. It's nice to see another lovable drunk handing out the touch of life. And the fact they were really good friends is just kind of amusing to me. At number 7, it's Quaithe of the Shadow. There's not much known about Quaithe and what she is truly capable of, assuming, of course, she's not an illusion. And yes, that is a fan theory some people believe. But one thing we do know is that she's a shadowbinder, one of the most powerful magical disciplines. That means she can command shadows to do her bidding like Mel, but not as gross as Mel. Again, assuming she's real, has also demonstrated she can astral project through shadows or dreams. It's not totally clear as to which, as demonstrated with her multiple appearances to Dany, though it's speculated she needs to mark the person she wishes to project to through touch like an arcane GPS tracker. Still, this is an immensely powerful ability we've only seen from one other character who is in the very top tier of magic users. This leads us to think the Lady of Shadow must be immensely powerful when it comes to shadow magic. Again, assuming she's real, of course. Bloody fans and their theories making me paranoid. At number 6, it's Varamir Sixskins. Varamir is perhaps the most powerful skin changer we've been exposed to in terms of current feats. It wasn't enough for him to have one furry puppet, he had to try and dominate every species to be found beyond the wall. Controlling a snow bear, an eagle, a shadowcat, and one wolf wasn't enough, he had to command bloody three, and he still has eyes on Ghost, the greedy bastard. Were it not for the unpleasantness that takes place in the story, this guy probably could have gone on to command an army of animals that could have rivaled the other's army of the dead by the end of it. But nope. Varamir had to be a dick and try and take over another human, which, while not impossible, requires immense power beyond even an accomplished skin changer to do so successfully. Speaking of which, at number 5, it's Bran Stark. Like Dany, Bran is one of the most powerful magic users in the series. He's not a skin changer or one who merely has green sight. He has these abilities, sure, but he's something else beyond that entirely. While it's not confirmed outright, and fans get very uppity when you suggest it because another character is titled the last of them, it's pretty obvious Bran is a greenseer or at least has the innate magical potential to become one. Greenseers are basically the most powerful wizards of nature in the entirety of A Song of Ice and Fire. Suspected to have arcane command over the elements of nature, the ability to astral project into dreams, and extremely powerful skin-changing abilities. Hinted to be the only ones with the power to walk, I don't know, a dragon. You teased this D&D, now why the fuck did you not pay it off? George won't let us down, though, will you, George? Will you? I have your wife. Now release the fucking book!
I'll find another.
Bran has also managed to warg a human, an extremely powerful feat of skin changing beyond even the likes of Varamir. But what puts Greenseers into the most powerful echelons of magic users is their ability to fuck with time. Able to essentially astral project into the past and possibly the future too, to observe events as though they were there. At first through the eyes of weirwood trees, but it's heavily hinted that trees are like training wheels and a master Greenseer can eventually project themselves anywhere. Which is extremely handy, especially for viewing a certain long night and gaining clues as to how the others were defeated the first time. It's even suggested that Bran may actually be able to manipulate the past itself with more handle over his abilities, a feat beyond even the most powerful Greenseers according to Bloodraven. But with that Hodor incident in Season 6 and D&D stating that came from George R.R. Martin, it's almost certain Bran can and will fuck with the past. The reason Bran finds himself not quite in the top tier is due to his inexperience. He does have a handle over his abilities to a degree by the last book, but that's mainly over the more mundane Greenseer stuff. The kid needs more training to become the demigod of nature magic he's intended to be. Basically, he's currently Anakin in the prequels with where we're at. Please, George, I'm begging you, don't make him the three-eyed useless in the books. Make his boring chapters worth it. At number 4, it's the red witch, Melisandre. Mel is perhaps the most prolific wielder of the arcane in the entire series so far, and clearly one of the most powerful. She's not a one-trick pony either, covering more disciplines than any other magic user we've seen in the series, demonstrating a strong command and various applications of fire magic, skill in divination, though she's irritatingly bad at interpreting visions at times, shadowbinding, gross, blood magic, the art of glamoring, and possibly even legitimate alchemy. She seemingly has her finger in every pie apart from the magic found within nature, which she seems to be opposed to. She's extremely knowledgeable, powerful, and versatile, which is why the Manus likely puts up with how annoying she is, and she seems to have the strongest handle over the widest range of abilities than any other notably powerful magic user. With the exception of her divination, of course, she fucking sucks at reading signs in the fire. And while we haven't included her in the top tier magic users, she is within a literal hair's breadth of joining them. We're just missing that, feat that can push her into that tier. And we've made it to the top tier magic users, and there's only 3 picks reserved for the most powerful wielders of the arcane. At number 3, it's Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion. And I'm certain this is the placement that will be bitched about the least. In opposite world. They don't cast spells or have prophetic visions, at least that we know of, but their mere presence has amplified magic across the entire known world. They are basically the catalysts for the more powerful and advanced applications of magic to be viable once more. They may not show it with cool tricks, but whatever magic is present within Dany's 3 dragons, well, dragons in general really, is godly levels of powerful for it to basically affect most forms of magic across the entire world. With the exception of the green-seeing stuff, of course. That shit don't need no dragons. Greenseers ride solo, dog. Speaking of which, at number 2, it's Bloodraven, the last Greenseer, and we'll address Leaf and the children while we're here. Bloodraven is quite possibly the most powerful human magic user in the world of Ice and Fire at the point we're at with the books. We've already explained how insanely powerful Greenseers are in Bran's entry, so we'll not repeat ourselves. But for context of Bloodraven's power, while he's not innately more powerful than Bran, with where we're at currently in the story, he's far more knowledgeable and has a much better command of his green-seeing abilities. Or to make the circle of the Star Wars reference complete, he's basically the Obi-Wan to Bran's Anakin. Can't wait for Bran to get trapped as the Night King and really bring that Anakin analogy back round. He might not have as high a ceiling as Bran, but he's higher on the ladder of understanding, if that makes sense. As for Leaf and the Children of the Forest, it's without a doubt they've got some powerful magic, but we haven't seen it in the books yet, and all we get in the show was these weird firebomb things and the likely not book canon creation of this guy. She's a bit cryptic, but Leaf seems to suggest she's got powerful divination powers, able to foretell Bran's coming, and it's said the children helped build the wall and had power over nature. but we just haven't seen them use this power yet, so I hesitate to place them somewhere officially on the list. They're definitely not frauds, so they're not going down there, but where could we place the children with what little we know about them? Why don't you let us know in the comments? And we've made it to the number 1 pick, and I know for a fact no one is surprised with this, but it's Patchface, the demon fool of the end times. What, Tom? Too obvious and OP? Okay, obviously guys, the actual number 1 is the Others/White Walkers, and their possible, yet to be confirmed in the book's leader, the Night King. Normally, the number 1 pick gets the most detailed and comprehensive dive into why they deserve their spot, where we list off their abilities, attributes, and in this case, powers. But you don't really need that for the others, because all the proof you need of their apocalyptic levels of power and magic is right fucking here. A 700-foot wall laden with magic spells and wards that even beings as mighty and magical as dragons will dare not pass. And it exists solely because these icy bastards were powerful enough to nearly destroy the known world. This very big block of magic ice is a stronger statement than any list of abilities when it comes to gauging how powerful the others and their magic truly is. And what's even more terrifying is the fact the silver-skinned freaks are gathering an army and readying to march on this fucker with intentions of getting past it. And it likely won't be via an undead dragon because D&D kinda forgot that dragons refuse to go beyond the wall, which means they've likely got some sort of magical means of bypassing or straight up demolishing the magical barrier. I'm not mad, Tom. I'm not mad. I've seen it in my dreams. How they will accomplish this and how the living can stop them is up for debate. But don't worry, Courageous, we saw your request and we've got a video in the works on that. For now though, until we get Winds and Dream, the others are clearly the most powerful magic users in the world of Ice and Fire. And if the Night King does show his face in the books like he does in the show, he'll likely be the most powerful one. And in my opinion, this is rightly so. I don't want to call them the big baddies, because Thrones is a bit more complicated than that, and George hates that shit, but, well, they are the big baddies. Not just in the mainline series, but for all time in regards to all things breathing in the world of Ice and Fire. They kind of need to be the most magically powerful entities, because it would be a little lame if a powerful Gandalf-like wizard just showed up, cast a few spells, and it defeated them. Though at least it would draw symmetry with the totally not lame way they were defeated in the show. Biggest narrative blue balls ever. Before we wrap up, I just want to catch that guy before he types something about this. You'll notice we didn't include the magical entities of the Old Gods, R'hllor, or the Great Other. And the reason for this is there is no definitive proof these entities exist. Red Priest miracles, Green Sing abilities, and the Other's necromancy may just be natural magic with no divine influence whatsoever. Obviously, if these entities do exist, they would obviously take joint first because they are basically the magical source for every entry on this list. But with no concrete confirmation of their existence, it didn't feel right putting them against tangible users. Sorry Tom, I know this has been a long one, but you know someone has already typed a comment about this before reaching the end of the video. So let's have the last laugh.